Canada look like if we intentionally grew our population to 100 million people? What would Canada look like if we tripled our population in the next couple of decades through mass migration? We would have to get rid of any and all immigration policies, any immigration rules, and just say, hey, anyone from around the world who wants to live in Canada can come to Canada. Well, this idea may seem far-fetched and absurd, but it's actually what a lot of Canadians, a lot of liberals in our country believe in and what they're aiming for. Just look at the mission of the Century Initiative. They want Canada to intentionally grow its population through mass immigration to 100 million people by 2100. That's just 80 years away. So what would future Canada look like if we just welcomed that many people? Would that Canada reflect the Canada that we live in today? Would those future Canadians have a lifestyle, have a quality of living that is similar to the one that you and I have? Would their childhood, would growing up in that Canada be similar and look anything like it was for Canadians to grow up in our generation? Well, that's part of the problem with this idea, with this kind of naive approach that anyone from around the world can come to Canada, and that as soon as they're in Canada, voila, suddenly they will respect our rule of law, they will understand our heritage and our traditions, and understand the things that have made Canada so successful, and frankly so unique in the world. If you look around the world, most countries are in a constant and perpetual state of corruption, poverty, violence, war. Most of the world is incredibly chaotic and vulnerable and has a lack of stability. Now, Canada, by fortune and by the hard work and sacrifices made by previous Canadians, we have an incredibly peaceful, prosperous society. Canada is incredibly unique in that regard, not just around the world today, but in human history. Somewhere along the line, Canadians dedicated themselves to upholding a set of rules, a set of values, a set of traditions, and a heritage that has led to the peaceful and prosperous society that we have today. And so the problem with so many liberals, including our Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, is that they don't understand the things that give Canada this advantage. They don't understand what it is that makes Canada so special. And they're willing to just give it all away for some artificial goal of growing our population. And that's what I'm concerned about. When you look at Canada today, when you look at the immigration policies under Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, you see this naive approach. At the same time, he's opening the borders, he's telling the world to come to Canada, that Canada will welcome you regardless of who you are and where you're from. You can come to Canada, kind of giving that open invitation, and then refusing to uphold our rule of law, refusing to enforce our border laws, our immigration laws. But then at the same time as he's created all of this chaos and instability of inviting illegal immigration in our country and then turning a blind eye to it, Trudeau doesn't recognize and doesn't appreciate the unique values that have made Canada so special and so unique. So when you're no longer telling people that they have to adapt to Canadian life, no longer telling them that there are a specific set of Canadian values that you must uphold and that you must respect if you want to live here, Trudeau is just saying, hey, anyone can come to Canada. You don't have to change anything about yourself. Canada is just this place where, it's a territory where everyone can do their own thing, and that somehow that's all magically going to work. Well, I'm very, very skeptical of that. I think that when you have people that come from around the world, they're not told to integrate, not told to learn English, to join the Canadian family. They're not going to. They're going to bring with them some aspects of the problems of the former country that they left. They left their country for a reason, probably because it was at war or it was just completely corrupt and unstable. When you bring people to Canada and you don't tell them what makes Canada unique, they're going to bring aspects of their old society. They're going to bring some of their tribal hatred, some of the bigotry that they grew up in, some of the ancient feuds that they were part of in their home country. Sooner or later, Canada won't look like Canada anymore. Canada will just be a whole bunch of little fiefdoms, of little warring tribes from people that brought their culture, brought their values. They didn't see anything special about Canada. And under misguided leadership, under misguided prime ministers who were either too naive to appreciate Canada, or as you see in the case with many conservatives, they're too afraid of their own shadow and unwilling to talk about these issues because they don't want the media and the liberal elites in our society to name call them and ostracize them and treat them like they are intolerant for talking about these issues. And that's the problem we find ourselves in Canada, where you can't have a meaningful discussion about immigration. You can't criticize illegal immigration. You can't even say the word illegal immigration. You're supposed to say irregular immigration now, according to Trudeau and the media. So we can't have a meaningful conversation, and yet we're supposed to just be open and welcome to illegal immigration and elites that want to purposefully grow our population, triple our population, and basically throw away the Canadian character and come up with some kind of a new Canada. Well, you know, for Canadians who love our country, who want our children and grandchildren to inherit the kind of country that we inherited, this is totally unacceptable. It's time for Canadians to stand up for ourselves, to stand up for our country, to push past the name calling and the labeling, and to just have an honest, open discussion about immigration, about the kind of country that we want, the kind of country we want to live in. I'm for immigration when it's orderly, when it's according to the rule of law, when people come in and they want to join the Canadian family, they want to work hard, play by the rules, learn English, learn French if they're going to be in Quebec, and really just join the Canadian family. We've had past immigration programs that have been incredibly successful, past waves of immigration where newcomers came and they became Canadian. They were so happy and so proud to be in our country that they were willing to work hard, they were willing to join the Canadian family, to leave some aspects of their old life behind and embrace some new aspects of their life in Canada. And Canada was always successful for that reason. But something's changed. In the new Canada, you can't talk about these issues. You can't even ask newcomers to embrace our way of life because the left will call you racist just for saying that. It's not okay, and something needs to change. So these are the topics, these are the themes that I outline in my new book. It's called No Border. You can pick that up at amazon.ca. It's already a bestseller, so please go check that out. I'm Candice Malcolm for True North.